She said she did.
Are you looking for one more person?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Do you want me to wait?
All right, she's walking in. They're waiting for you, Sarah. Oh, that's mine.
Oh, sorry, that was Claire's.
Don't take my water.
Here I will.
I'm not sure.
This is happy.
I'm sorry.
Okay. Okay, so I'm Christina. I'm an occupational therapist. I graduated from WashU in 2010. I've been an amputee for 6 years, so I became an amputee after I was already an occupational therapist. I currently work for Metro Bus doing the assessments for a call ride. It's kind of like a desk job. It's not really a very difficult job. And I got this. So what do you want to know about it? What's that?
Like, start from square one.
Okay, so from square one, what do you mean? Like,
How did you get it?
how did I get it? So I dropped my car on my brake, on my foot, changing my brakes. That's not something that you should do. You should avoid doing that. I damaged my foot enough that they were going to cut off all of my toes and fuse my ankle, and I went to the OT research literature and I looked up that outcomes of that functionally versus outcomes of amputation and found that the outcomes were better with amputation, and so I took my research to my surgeon and told him to cut it off, and he's like, okay, and so he did. So that's how OT made me an amputee. So the other group likes to see how it comes off. So this thing is a liner, so that rolls off. This is a sleeve. And so I've got tattoos. Now I have to wait for it to dry out because it gets kind of tacky and sweaty, and especially in the summer. I don't know about summer. For this first year, I'm walking around and it gets all like sloppy in there and gross. And if I don't let it like dry out almost completely, then when I put it back on, it gets super itchy for some reason. I don't know why, but it does. And so put it back on. Take the sleeve and you roll it on. And then stick it down there. There's a little air valve to let the air out, which is not necessary really, but I just do it because it goes faster. And then it rolls up. There is a pump in the bottom of this foot, so when I walk, it pumps the air out. That's what the little clear tube is for, so that's the air tube to connect the pump to the little air valve. And so when I walk, it sucks all the air out and it keeps my leg on. Assuming that I don't have holes in my sleeve, which happens very frequently because I'm very active, but the leg still stays on if there's no suction. I just like the suction because it provides a more secure fit. And one of the things I do is aerial silks and trapeze. And I need to have suction to hang upside down by my feet if I'm in the air, or I will fall and die. Well, maybe I wouldn't die, but I would fall on my head probably. So that's one of the things that I really wanted to be able to do as an amputee, doing aerial silks, is hang upside down by my feet. And I can do it, but I have to have suction.
How are things? I just wanted to check in. How are you doing?
What?
How are you doing?
I'm fine.
And then, guys, just make sure that you manage your time so you can do as many things as possible and do some moving and not just talking. Cool? Did you get the idea? Were they jumping in, Lester?
Yeah, they were jumping in. I was like, hey, what task do you need to do on your sheet?
Great. Okay.
Do a sheet task.
Is there anything that you find difficult to do in your everyday life?
Standing on my toes. So if I have to reach something really tall, I have to stand just on my one foot, and so it's very difficult. Otherwise, I don't really find walking or running or anything like that really difficult. There are a very few aerial silks tricks that I was not able to do, but as far as all the tricks, all the regular stuff I'm able to do, except for like these very few like advanced things that basically involved being upside down and having to point your toe. It doesn't do it. So there was like a couple of like things, but otherwise I really don't find things very difficult as an amputee at all.
Anything with parenting that you didn't expect? Or
What's that?
anything with parenting that you think being an amputee makes any difference in?
Yes, so I really haven't had an issue so far because my baby sleeps in a co-sleeper bed right next to me, but I would find it super annoying to have to get up in the middle of the night and put my leg on and go to his room if he was in a separate room from me. I do have a wheelchair that I use at night when I'm not using my leg, and so that is what I would do, is I would just get in my wheelchair and go there. Actually, his crib, which he does not sleep in because he's 3 months old and he sleeps in the same room with me, is adapted. So I actually had Jack Ingsberg adapt it for me. I know. So it's adapted so that it opens up like this. So whenever he starts sleeping in his crib when he's like a year or so old, I don't have to stand up on one leg and try to like balance and pick him up. I can just open it up and be like, hey baby.
Anything that, so part of what they have to do as a follow-up assignment is like write some goals and write a problem statement. Anything like that you've problem solved through, but you could just tell them what the problem was and not how you fixed it? Does that make sense?
What the problem was and not how I fixed it?
Yes, so that they could on their own later try to think through how they might problem solve through that.
Oh, okay.
Like something you encountered along the way, or maybe some point in your rehab that was a hard thing to do, just so that, because I know we have people who've been with their prosthetic for a long time, so hopefully that's not the case, but for them to work through the OT process.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm gonna have to think about something now, like while I'm talking about the
Okay, but in the next groups, you can just use one of those
Yeah, 'cause then I
examples, but
can-
don't tell them all the fixes.
Yeah, I'm like, I won't tell them about the crib, the thing.
Sure.
Or the wheelchair.
Okay.
Okay. So, these are some of the sockets that I've had. So, one issue when you're an amputee is volume changes. So you'll see like my sockets started out really big. Pretty sure this was the first one. So you see it's like huge and heavy and it's got all this leather in it because it started out with no leather in it and then it shrank down. So they added leather to make up for some of the volume losses. You can see this is a final socket. That's also got like a crap load of leather in it. So what happens when you start out is your leg is all really swollen and you've still got your muscles, and then your muscles atrophy because you're not using them, obviously, and so your leg shrinks down, and so what happens is that you lose volume in your leg, and so you get a socket and it fits, and then later it doesn't fit, and what'll happen is that you'll fit and you'll get really comfortable, and you'll be in the clinic, and then you'll be like, great, it's comfortable, and then half an hour later you're like, oh, now it hurts, I'm bottoming out, and it hurts on the bottom. And the reason it hurts on the bottom is because you've lost volume, and so you obviously can't like make 5 different sockets throughout the day. So what you do is you make up for that lost volume with socks. So these are stump socks. Some of these are shrinkers. Shrinkers are things that you wear at night to kind of control the volume changes that happen, because what'll happen is you'll shrink during the day and then you'll take your leg off and go to sleep at night, and then you'll swell back up during the night. If you wear a stump sock, then that kind of reduces some of the volume changes. So here's some socks. Those are stump socks that you wear at night. And then these ones are socks that you would put on before you put your leg on. You can see they're different thicknesses from like super thin to kind of really thick. And so what new amputees have to do, and they don't often realize, and you might encounter in your practice if you're working with a new amputee and they're like, my leg hurts, is to get out their socks and play musical socks until you find whatever fit is comfortable. And then do that again in an hour. Because your leg will keep shrinking throughout the day. And then start the process all over again the next morning. And you'll do that until your leg volume stabilizes at some point, like a couple of years down the road. And so now I don't use any socks. I've got no socks.
Does this get really hot if you wear them?
What?
Do these socks get really warm? Like in the summer, do you get hot?
Yeah, it doesn't matter if they're socks or not, because they go on top of the silicone sleeve, which you can imagine, like if you had to wear one of these on your foot, how hot your foot would get. So your leg is kind of the same way. Like I think there's more, you know, sensory nerves in your foot that can sense heat. Like it doesn't really feel as hot as I think it would if I actually put like a liner on my foot. But I still like get all sweaty and gross in there, and have to like take my leg off and let it air out and dry out. Because when it sweats, when you get all sweaty, it doesn't want to stick as much anymore. I have that issue when in aerial silks where I'll have to like take a break and take my leg off and like dry it out and then put it back on because I'm just like sliding around and sliding out of it. We've also got feet for different functions. So the way foot is aligned properly is if this, what's called a pylon, is straight up and down. And so you can see that's basically straight up and down like if you were to be walking barefoot. But if I wanted to wear a foot with like a little heel like this, then it would basically be like, I'd be walking like this. And not so good. So this one, it kind of sticks a little, but it adjusts so that you can wear heels that are about that tall. And then if I want to wear heels that are really tall, I've got a custom one specifically for 4-inch heels. So that's the custom one.
Can you like change and put a different 4-inch heel in there?
What?
You can put like any 4-inch heel in there?
Pretty basically, as long as it looks good, as far as like the, because you know it's like a fixed shape.
Right.
As long as it like fits in the shoe good and like looks aesthetically pleasing to me, then yes. Because I can adjust the angle of the pylon inside. And there's that one.
I know. I have a nail polish too.
Thanks. This one is for running, and I don't use it because it doesn't fit me anymore, which is a shame because it looks really cool. These are 2 regular ones just for everyday use that are previous feet that I had that I don't use currently.
Why don't you use them currently?
Because I got this one. Because they don't do suction. Those are just regular ones. They don't have suction in them.
So how long have you had that current one for?
Like 3 years.
How long do you usually have them for?
Like 3 years. Which you're probably like, well, why do you have so many now? So I started out with that one. This was my first one, and then like 3 years later I got this one, and then maybe 2 years or something later I don't know. I don't remember.
Do you have a foot you can wear like sandals with that one has like, or like?
Yeah, this one you can wear sandals with it.
Because I was like, I noticed this one like you couldn't like slide it.
Yeah, that one you can wear sandals too. And then that one you can. This one is for swimming, so it locks like this for walking. And then if I wanted to like be on like a jet ski or something, I could have it loose. So
Wow, there's
that
so many different types.
yeah, so that you could be doing lots of different squats, and it would just, instead of the heel coming off the ground, it would just stay in place. And then it also locks in a pointed position for swimming. I also use it in silks sometimes because you're supposed to point your feet, and that one doesn't point, but this one does if I take that one off and switch it.
So could you use that one for like the silks or like?
Yeah, I do that. I use that one sometimes for silks.
Did you do aerial silks before your amputation as well?
No.
Okay.
No, I saw,
I know.
I don't know how I got into it, but I just saw somebody doing it or something online, and I was like, I don't see amputees doing that, therefore I shall do it now. And so I've been doing it for like 4 years. I haven't done it in a while because I was pregnant, and like that is way more disabling than being an amputee. Because I had like this giant belly and like I couldn't climb up the silks. I think I quit when I was like 5 months pregnant. I was like, okay, that's enough.
Did you have to get a different socket when you were pregnant?
I didn't, but I really should have. Because I could not, that socket did not fit me the last couple months. Like I had to walk around wearing just stump socks and no liner because the liner takes up a lot of volume. It's actually pretty thick. And so, you know, when you're pregnant, your feet swell up.
Right.
Well,
gain weight.
yeah, and my foot size changed too. Like I used to wear 7.5 and now I have to wear size 8. Anyway, so you probably don't want to feel the inside of this. It's like gross, sweaty, but you can feel that. So you can feel it's pretty thick, and so when I got swelled up, I couldn't wear. My leg would not fit in there with the liner on, so I took the liner off and just played magical socks or played musical socks until I like got to where I could like somewhat wear it like for like short walking distances, basically with no liner.
I thought that would be a lot lighter than it was.
Yeah.
What's that?
It's very heavy.
Yeah, it's pretty heavy. And then immediately after I had my baby, I could not wear it at all. Like not even, because I was so swollen, it looked ridiculous. Like there's so much extra space in there, but I could not fit it in there, like at all with anything. Like even with the thinnest sock, or no sock at all, like it just wouldn't fit in there because I had so much fluid retention. But then like a few days later, I like managed to stuff it in there. And then like a week later, I was like stuffing it in there with like a couple of socks, and eventually I got back to just being normal again. So yeah, but thankfully I've got a wheelchair. I like wheelchairs, so it's cool. I just use my wheelchair. I was like, whatever.
And how do you bathe? Do you bathe like without the prosthesis on?
Yes. Yeah.
Do you like stand in the shower? Do you have like a bench?
No, I just sit in the tub. I like tub baths, and it really annoys me when I like go to a hotel and they don't have a tub there and it's a shower and I'm like, oh. So I just sit on the floor.
Do you have any difficulty like getting in and out, or like getting down through the floor and then back out of the shower?
Not really. Like I just like I would just like put my leg on the side of the tub and then just get in. It's fine.
Wow.
Wow. Really cool.
I know.
Really?
She's like,
I mean, yeah, she's a trapeze artist.
What's that?
So do you do?
Yeah, I'm an aerialist.
Yeah,
like
you're pretty
That's hard.
flexible.
like yeah,
I
I
did it
can
once and I was like, I'm good.
like I can get down on the ground. It's cool.
Yeah.
I don't think we tried that.
Are there any things that you're like kind of or a little bit worried about going forward with parenting, like that you won't be able to do or we're gonna have to change?
Wait, what?
Like for parenting? Or
Sorry, I'm
no,
deaf.
no. In the future, is there anything that you're anticipating will like be kind of an obstacle that you're running into with parenting?
I don't really think so. Like I know at some point my kid's gonna be like, well, I want a leg too. When am I gonna get my leg or my tattoos or my whatever? Because like that's what all my other amputee friends like my one friend, her daughter was like, she's like, what do you want for Christmas? And her daughter's like, I want a leg. Like, you got 2 of them. Like, what do you mean you want a leg? She's like, no, I want a leg like your leg. So she was like 4. She wanted to have one too. But as far as like my mobility goes, or like chasing my kid around, like I don't think that would be. I won't really have a problem with that. I think the biggest issue for me, honestly, it's more of an issue being deaf, because when I take my cochlear implant and my hearing aid off at night, then I can hear my kid if he's in the same room with me, which is where he sleeps now. But if he's in the other room, like I can make out that he's crying, and I'm like, oh yeah, I hear him and he is crying. But if I was asleep, I would just sleep straight through it because it's not that loud. And sometimes when my hearing devices are out, and I'm like in the other room, I like think I hear him crying, and then I'll like go in there and he's asleep. I'm like, oh, it's just like phantom crying. So I'm like, oh, I think I hear him, and he's like zonked out. I'm like, well, okay, obviously not.
When you first got the prosthesis, was it difficult to like adjust to it in terms of like body and maybe like self-esteem?
Not for me, it wasn't. I actually was like, that's cool. I was like, now I get to be a cyborg, and I feel kind of awesome. So like, it really didn't bother me at all. I know a lot of people don't feel that way, and I totally understand that. But that's one thing that's nice about being a community OT, is that meeting another amputee and they see that I just like don't care at all, or like even think it's cool, and then like that just changes their brain like immediately. Like it's like it just like makes the cogs in their brain change. Like I had some lady the other day, and she's like, so did you date people after your amputation or before your amputation? I'm like, oh, after, like, it was no problem. And she's like, oh, really? And I'm like, yeah, it's all about you. Like, if you, come at your dating life at like, oh, I got this fatal flaw, then people are gonna be like, oh, she's got this fatal flaw. But like, if you come at your dating life like, I'm an awesome cyborg, then people are gonna be like, oh, well, she's an awesome cyborg. That's like mysterious and cool, and I want to like learn about that. So I appreciate that I get to inspire confidence in other people.
Did you experience any challenges during rehab?
Yeah, so walking longer distances was an issue at first because it was really uncomfortable to walk longer distances. Stuff like stairs was relatively easy, so that wasn't really a big deal. Yeah, basically just like walk. So what I would do is we lived by Ted Drew's, and I would like walk to Ted Drew's, and that would be like my reward for walking that far. It was like half a mile, and I'd be like, yes, I get my Ted Drew's, and then I would walk back home. So yeah.
Are there any other activities you like prefer to do without your prosthesis?
Swimming.
Swimming, even though you have like a swimming foot.
Even though I have, well, so if I'm swimming like in like a lake or something, or like a natural body of water, then I prefer to use my prosthesis because I don't really know what's down there. And like maybe I would like to swim to some like area and go like exploring around or something. I don't know. But if it's in a pool, then I probably just prefer to take my prosthesis off. Just like general relaxing. Like if I sit for a long time with my knee bent, it's kind of, the liner and the sleeve put a lot of pressure on your knee, and it gets really uncomfortable after a while. Like, and so like if I'm driving, I'll just take it off, and if I'm driving for a long time, like I'll just take it off and just not wear it in the car. Or if I'm like laying in bed relaxing or like watching a movie relaxing, I'll just take it off because that's a lot more comfortable that way. I definitely prefer sleeping with it off. Having sex with it off. It's awkward with it on. It's just, I feel like I'm gonna like hurt my partner by like kicking him or something. I don't know. I do silks with it on and with it off. So I figured out how to climb with it off. There's a couple of climbs that you can do with one leg. What's that?
I want to go see you.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I should do.
Take some from here.
Oh, I forgot to mention, I have a YouTube channel that shows me from pre-amputation, and then I did weekly vlogs for like almost a whole year. And so it shows like every aspect of my amputation. It's Amputee OT. And there's some silks videos on there. I just signed up for classes again in May after I haven't, so I stopped at 5 months because I was pregnant, so it's been like almost a year. And I have a rig outside in my backyard, and I was doing some crunches the other day, and my abs are still like kind of sore from it. I'm like, oh my god, I have so much work to do to get back to where I was.
It's such an athletic activity.
It is. Like almost anyone can do it, so it's fun too.
This is a weird question, but when you paint your toenails, because some of them are painted, do you use like nail polish remover to take it off, or does it mess up the foot?
So usually I paint them with gel, and I just kind of pick it off with a credit card, and then just repaint them.
Okay.
So it doesn't like ruin them at all?
What?
So it wouldn't like ruin it at all?
No. I mean, if it was just like regular nail polish, then I would just use nail polish remover and it wouldn't mess it up.
Okay.
As long as you didn't like, because if you use the nail polish remover with acetone, it would mess up the plastic eventually, like if you did it like a lot. So I just use gel. And I just pick it off. It's not really that weird question. Sometimes I get a discount if I go to get a pedicure.
Really?
Yeah, I don't really ask for one, but I could because they paint those toes, so like, they're doing the work and they.
I have to do hard though.
It's so, yeah.
Yeah, but-
It's so much easier to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like, massage it or something, like, put your own- do all the cuticle work, there's no cuticle work.
I don't know if they do it.
Did you think of your problem statement?
What?
Did you think of your problem statement?
My problem statement?
Yeah,
The
whenever.
problem that you're gonna tell us,
Dory,
that you're
you
gonna
and-
tell us that you
Oh, man, I was talking about other stuff. Like,
No, that's
You're gonna tell us, but you weren't gonna tell us how you fixed it. Like a problem you had in the past.
yeah, I gotta say something. Okay, okay,
You can go
so
way back.
getting shoes to stay on a prosthetic foot. Like if I'm wearing sandals, some of them will not stay on. Like like if I wear flip flops, I would just walk out of them. What?
You can't
I can't ask. I
That's
want
what I
an
was
answer.
You can't ask
I
for
know,
the answer.
but I think I know it.
I didn't bring them, but I have a pair of black high heel shoes that don't have a strap,
Sounds like the strap would definitely help.
and
You
so
yeah, but your foot
But you
can't
probably,
grab it.
you probably like shoes that don't have straps.
so just like what?
You probably like shoes that don't have straps too, like
Yeah.
flip flops.
Yeah. So like, how do you keep those shoes on?
That's a good
That is a good question. I like that.
Let you know.
I mean, maybe I like that.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you
so much.
I'll check out your YouTube channel.
What's that?
So I'll check out your YouTube channel.
Okay.
Excited.